You will never look at a broke-looking person the same way again after this video. Here is why. There is a man in your city right now. You have probably walked past him, maybe stood behind him in line, maybe thought, without meaning to, that he was struggling. He drives a beat-up sedan. He wears the same 3 shirts on rotation. Last week, someone offered to cover his coffee at a drive-thru because the card reader froze and the person behind him felt bad. He has $9 million, not a house he can't sell, not equity on paper. $9 million in accounts that grow every single night while he sleeps, while you scroll, while the rest of the world argues about who's winning. And here is the part that should make you stop breathing for a second. He is not special. He was not born into it. He did not invent anything or get lucky or find some loophole that the rest of us missed. He just made different decisions every single day for years. And today you are going to live every one of those decisions with him from 5:47 a.m. to lights out. By the time this ends, you will know exactly why he looks broke, what he actually does with his money, and what you can start doing tomorrow, not next year, tomorrow, to build the same invisible wealth. Do not skip any part. The thing that changes how you think about money is not at the beginning. It is buried in the middle. You will know it when you hit it. The alarm does not go off at 4 a.m. No ice bath. No green smoothie. You wake up at 5:47 because that is when your body wakes up and you have not needed an alarm in 6 years. The first thing you do is not check your phone. You sit on the edge of the bed for 30 seconds. Not meditating, just refusing to let someone else's notification be the first thing your brain locks onto today. Then you open one app, not Instagram, not the news, your net worth dashboard. The same one you have opened every single morning for 11 years. You look at your investment allocations. You check if anything needs attention. Most mornings, nothing does. That is not boring. That is the whole point. The millionaire lifestyle the internet sells you, the 4 a.m. alarm, the cold plunge, the 10-step morning routine, that is performance. That is content for people who want to look like they are building wealth. Real financial independence looks like a man checking one screen for 4 minutes and then making coffee. His coffee comes from a machine that cost $60 3 years ago. $9 a day for 365 days is $3,285 a year. That is personal finance in one sentence, not the big moves, but what quietly drains you when you stop paying attention. He does not think about this anymore. He made the decision once. The habit runs itself, and his brain is free for decisions that actually compound. Discipline is not white-knuckling every choice. Discipline is building systems so solid the choices disappear. But that is just the morning. What happens next, what he does at 7:15, is what most people never think to do, and it costs him almost nothing. You are driving a 7-year-old sedan that you paid cash for. 94,000 miles. A small crack in the rear bumper you keep meaning to fix. No heated seats. No subscription for the radio because you are listening to an audiobook instead. The same audiobook about index fund investing that you have listened to 4 times now, because the 4th time is when things stop being information and start being instinct. You pull into a parking lot that charges $2 an hour. The garage next door charges $18. You have parked in this exact spot for years. The cup holder always has exact change. It takes you 11 seconds, $2 instead of $18, $16 saved. 3 times a week, 52 weeks a year. That is $2,496. Invested at 7% annually for 20 years, that single habit is worth nearly $10,000 from a parking spot. This is stealth wealth, not a secret investment, not a strategy only rich people know. Just the compounding of small intentional decisions that nobody around you is making because nobody around you is doing the math. But here is what the parking spot actually reveals, and this is the part most people miss. It is not about the $16. One parking spot does not build $9 million. What it reveals is a way of thinking, that every dollar has exactly one job, and that job is either working for you or working against you. There is no neutral. The dollar you spend on the parking garage is not just gone. It is gone plus the $10,000 it would have become. When you apply that thinking to a car purchase, you save $40,000. When you apply it to your mortgage, your insurance, your investment fees, your tax strategy, you save hundreds of thousands over a lifetime. Not by being cheap, by understanding what things actually cost. The audiobook clicks to a new chapter as you lock the car. You stand in the parking lot for a moment, reading the chapter title on your phone screen. You have been waiting for this chapter. What you are about to do inside that building next is the single move that most people with high incomes never make, and it is the reason most of them stay stuck. You walk into your accountant's office. Not in April, not in a panic. You are here on an ordinary Tuesday because you meet every quarter, not when something feels wrong, but on schedule, before it does. Most people think accountants are for filing taxes. That is like thinking a doctor is only for emergencies. Today, the conversation is about tax efficiency. The second largest wealth destroyer after bad investing is overpaying taxes, not illegally avoiding them, legally reducing them using every tool the system already built for people paying attention. Your accountant walks through 3 moves you can still make before year end to reduce your taxable income. You write them on a legal pad with a $2 pen, $9 million in assets, $2 pen. Not because you cannot afford a better pen, because this pen works, and the difference between a $2 pen and a $20 pen does not show up anywhere in your life that matters. That distinction, not what you can afford, but what actually changes your life, is the filter the quiet millionaire runs every purchase through. Here is the number that matters from this meeting. The accountant's fee this quarter is $900. The strategies on that legal pad will save you somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000 this year. That is not a cost. That is a 12-to-1 return on a single Tuesday morning. The math wealthy people do is not, how much does this cost? It is, what does this return? A lawyer who protects a contract, a trainer who fixes your form, an accountant who knows the tax code like a map. These are not expenses. They are the highest returning investments most people never make because they cannot get past the upfront number. You are about to leave when your accountant says you are on track. 3 words. You have been working toward those 3 words for 11 years. You nod. You shake hands. You walk out. And now you are about to go somewhere that will test something most wealthy people never talk about. Not their strategy, but their psychology. Keep watching. You eat lunch at a place with no Instagram page. Family owned. 6 years you have been coming here. The owner knows your order. The bill is $14 with tip, and you leave it without thinking about it. Not because $14 is nothing to you, but because you budgeted for this, you enjoy it, and spending money on things you actually value is not the enemy. Spending money on things you do not value is the enemy. You sit alone. No photos of the food. You read 3 pages of a financial report on paper because you focus better on paper and you have stopped apologizing for the things that actually work for you. Then something happens at the table next to you. A man, loud, confident, clearly performing, is on the phone with someone about a real estate deal that is going to make him rich. He mentions numbers, he mentions a timeline, he glances around the room to see if anyone is listening. You are listening, and you feel absolutely nothing. No envy, no urgency, no fear that you are missing something, because you have watched this exact scene play out more times than you can count over the years. The loud deal, the big number, the timeline that quietly doubles. The silence that follows 6 months later when nobody asks how it went because everyone already knows. This is the part of financial independence nobody puts in the thumbnail, not the number in the account, but the complete absence of panic when someone around you seems to be winning faster. You stopped racing years ago, and the moment you stopped, you started compounding without interruption. You finish your lunch, you leave $14 on the table, you walk out while the man on the phone is still talking. What you do at 1 p.m. is where most people either build wealth or destroy it. You are back home, desk, laptop, brokerage account open. You are not here to trade. You are not here to react to a headline you saw this morning. You are here to rebalance once a year, same week every year, 22 minutes start to finish. You bring your allocations back to target. More into equities when the ratio has drifted. Trim where it has overcorrected. No emotion, no prediction, no opinion about what the market is going to do next quarter, because you have learned, slowly and painfully, that nobody knows. Here is the number you need to hear. The average investor underperforms the market by 1.5% per year. On a $500,000 portfolio over 30 years, that gap destroys more than $400,000, not because the market failed them, because they kept reacting. This is the side of compound interest nobody talks about. It builds when you leave it alone, and it destroys the moment you start interfering. Volatility is not the enemy. Volatility is the discount rack. 8 months ago, the market dropped 14%. You remember the headlines. You remember your phone lighting up. You remember your brother-in-law calling to ask if you were getting out. You were not getting out. You were buying. Not because you were reckless, because you had already decided what you would do in that exact scenario before it happened. You have a written investment policy, a document that tells you exactly how to respond to every situation the market can throw at you before the situation arrives, before your hands are shaking, before fear is making the decision instead of math. When the drop hit, you did not think. You followed the document, you bought. You closed the laptop. 8 months later, the portfolio had recovered and added another 11% on top. 22 minutes of rebalancing today. 22 minutes once a year. Compounding does the rest. Close the laptop. Because what is about to happen at 3:30 is the most important financial conversation of the day, and it has nothing to do with money. Your phone rings. It is your daughter, 24 years old, first real job, $52,000 a year. She is calling because she wants to lease a new car. Her current one has high mileage and she is tired of it. This is the moment most wealthy parents get wrong. They answer the question. The kid follows the advice without learning the reasoning, so next time they call again. You do not answer. You say, the difference between a lease payment and what you currently pay is about $400 a month. If you invested that every month for 5 years, what would it be? Silence. She does not know. Figure it out. Call back when you have the number. 21 minutes later, she calls. Her voice is different, quieter. The kind of quiet that happens when math surprises you. Almost $30,000, she says. Now you know what the new car costs. She is keeping the car. That is the moment. That is the conversation that costs you nothing and is worth more than anything you could ever put in a college fund or a will. Not the money, the thinking. The ability to run the real number before making the visible decision. That is what generational wealth actually means. Not what you leave behind, what you build inside someone while you are still here. You hang up. The house is quiet, and now comes the part most people overlook, the one that holds the whole thing together. Dinner is at home. You cooked whatever was already in the fridge because you planned it on Sunday the way you have done every Sunday for 8 years. Decision fatigue is real. By 6 p.m., your brain has made hundreds of calls. 10 minutes on Sunday eliminates 4 hours of weekly friction and $60 in wasted food. The quiet millionaire pre-decides everything he can pre-decide. That is how he still has energy left. After dinner, you sit on the back porch. No phone, no screen. The yard needs some work. It always needs some work. The sky is doing what it does. You let the day land. Not the numbers, the decisions. The parking spot, the accountant, the 22 minutes of rebalancing, the phone call with your daughter. None of it was dramatic. None of it looked like what people think wealth building looks like. Nobody watching your day from the outside would have understood what they were seeing, because stealth wealth is invisible by design. $9 million. No single big moment. No lucky break. No secret. Just the relentless, boring, unsexy accumulation of correct small decisions made consistently for a very long time. The quiet millionaire does not have extraordinary days. He has ordinary days with extraordinary consistency baked into every choice, so invisible, so automatic, that the person behind him at the gas station counter would never believe what is sitting in his accounts. $9 million. And here is what you need to hear before this video ends. He did not start with 9 million. He started with nothing. A used car, a cheap parking spot, a $60 coffee machine, and the decision, one single decision, to stop spending money to look wealthy and start spending money to become wealthy. Those are not the same thing. Most people never figure that out. You just did. The question is not whether you can do this. The math works for anyone who lets it run. The question is whether you are willing to be boring enough to let it. Start tomorrow.